You can probably see the smile and the excitement in my face. This is the all new 2024. I am clapping, Lexus. I am clapping. Lexus GX 550. And if you're wondering what that color is, it's called Earth, and it's actually a pearl. This is the OverTrail. That's also new. Those are 33-inch tires. And I'm gonna shut up because we're just gonna stare at this car for a minute. Let's all stare. Damn, I can say that. Damn, they nailed the styling. You all know I have very close relationship with this company. I was fortunate enough to see this 2 years ago. And I think I can say this at that dealer meeting. When I tell you there was a stand-up rounding applause, there was an ovation when they saw just a preview of the GX. The year after that, we saw a closed prototype and we had to take our phones away. And when I saw it, as soon as I saw it, I said, this is like a futuristic, retro, techno. I just love the styling. They just absolutely nailed it. And I'm gonna get a little closer and talk to you about the GX just a little bit. That vehicle has actually been around since 2003. It was the third Lexus vehicle. It was behind the LX and then the RX. And it was the second body on frame vehicle from the brand. V8. It's in its first 2 generations, and it was called 460 back then. And I remember it, and I loved it. And that vehicle, 20 years later, is legendary with the Overlanders and all these guys modding it. And then in 2010, the second generation came out. I believe the J150. First one was the J120, I believe. And I'll be honest, it looked like a SUV. They fixed it to me in 2014. That's when it got its first facelift. And they added a spindle. And I say that because sales almost doubled. And then it got another facelift in 2020, and sales continue to increase. If you didn't know, back in the 2000s, there was that talk about moving to EV, even back then, and the GS was still around, etc. And there was talk about, oh, maybe we have too many SUVs, or it's body on frame. Who wants this? Well, sales have exploded. And that's because the GX fits this wonderful market, wonderful people on all these GX groups online, and they don't want a unibody. They don't want a TX. They don't want an RX. They want something like this, and I totally agree. All right, so triple LED lights. I'm going to leave them on real briefly, and it has that trademark Lexus L LED, and you'll notice immediately how much smaller the spindle is. There's a couple of things I want to talk to you about. One of them is the overhang is about 1 inch shorter than the previous model. And also they raised and designed this to be a little bit higher so you have more ground clearance when you're doing that overlanding and you're I don't want to say overtrailing, but that's what this is called. I just love how again, Lexus has taken a spindle and made so many different family of spindles that is instantly distinctive as a Lexus, but now also instantly distinctive of which particular Lexus it is. There's no mistaking that's a GX. Obviously, we talked about a TX, or whether you saw the video first or second, and you notice there's spindles, but different. Huge arches. It might be hard to talk about it in video. I don't know if we can translate it, but these stick out. This particular GX is, I would believe, 4 inches wider than the last one. So it's beefy. And part of that reason is these really big flares that are here front and rear. And they're also continuing to rear too. So these have really wide arches. Obviously, they have this black cladding. For those of you that do modify like myself and are like, oh, I want to go a little crazier, you definitely will have room for what I can see. Notice on the OverTrail, everything is blacked out. So on the OverTrail, Earth is one of the colors. You'll also be able to get incognito. I do believe nori green, caviar, and then you get that two-tone top. You get the black, gloss black top, and blacked out compared to the rest of the GXs. There are no other GXs here, but when you see the press photos, you just know what I'm talking about. So not only is it super distinctive to look at as a GX, now it's even more distinctive as an OverTrail. To the rear, we have that signature Lexus blade running across. And I love actually how bright this LED is. And then you have the new Lexus font here, which I love. But I'm gonna show you something. I'm gonna show you something you weren't ready for, you weren't expecting, but I know you're gonna love. Check this out. Hey y'all, it's Mike again. Welcome. That's right, y'all. The GX has that back window that opens up. It's something that we loved back in the 4Runner days. And this obviously had a barn door before. This is something people have clamored for. I am so excited here. Zach is grinning because the camera guy knows now he can stick his camera out the back, out that back window. We can get some really cool rolling shots. Wow, really good job here, Lexus. I don't know why, it feels, again, really comfortable back here. So the GX will be available as a 7-seater and also as a 5-seater. So this is actually a 5-seater here in the OverTrail. I'm not exactly of all the options and packages yet, but the 7-seater will be available to OverTrail, so I'm not sure. Like I said, you're learning with me. I hope this is fun for you like this is for me. I'm just blown away by what I'm seeing here. So, I mean, you can tell just how much room this GX has, like how boxy it is, because this shit's way up, like compared to the NX or RX, for instance. Back that out, and then I'm just going to pull this out. This is not leather like in the TX, it's a cloth. And then here we have, looks like a spare tire kit. So I'm assuming it's under here. Let me look. Yes. Looks like a full-size spare too, Zach. So got a full-size spare under there that you can get under if something happens. This also does have your AC 120-volt outlet right here. I'm great to see that continue to be a part of Lexus's SUVs. And I'm assuming that's a giant tow hitch cover. I love how they designed it. It looks pretty cool. And I'm sorry for the fingerprints, Troy and the team. I know they're gonna have to wipe it down before everybody else gets here. Let's go inside, Zach. All right, so one thing I did notice, like the Lexus LX, which is also a legendary body on frame off-roader, these door handles pull out. And I'm sure that's for safety reasons when you're doing that overlanding, you're in the woods, you're overtrailing. Again, this is probably likely a prototype, so ignore any buttons or lights you see. But again, clear gauges. What I do love about this compared to what I've seen in the RX or even the RZ I was driving yesterday, it takes the whole full length of the digital dash instead of like a square. 14-inch screen. What I'm loving is, that, again, more soft touch materials on this dashboard. This is, believe, made in Tahara, Japan, which is one of the most legendary automobile plants in the world. It does not have a panoramic roof, but it does have a really large sunroof. This seems to be about, I would say, 30% larger than what I normally see on a Lexus. And again, 6'5", 270. I did not adjust anything. I did not lower or raise the seat. And there's tons of room in here. Again, this vehicle is 4 inches wider. So now there's tons of space compared to the previous GX. USB-C ports up here. It looks like a wireless charging system here. All your select drive modes here. And traditional gear shift knob. Like the LX. Well, if you live in somewhere it's hot, the value of a cool box. I have stated many times online in the video, I wish every car had that option. It shouldn't just be SUVs, it should be every vehicle. This is a lifesaver. I'm gonna sit in the back now. I didn't adjust anything, y'all. Before I get that, look at that swoop line, right? I know some of you saw those spy photos and it is pretty accurate. So it's a nice swoop line. I'll go inside and show you how does it look. All right, so you can see instantly it is tighter than the TX, and it's supposed to be. Just to let you know, this vehicle did grow 3 inches in length. It's 197 or so inches long. The LX is 200 inches long. The TX is 203 inches long. And if you're curious, the RX is 192 inches long. The NX is 184 inches long. The UX is 177. So I love how Lexus is offering not a one-size-fits-all approach. They have different vehicles based on your wants and needs. Like the TX, I noticed there is a privacy screen on the doors. That's great. I do love this lovely dark wood here again. And Mark Leminson's speaker is integrated very well. Leather here. And I know this soft, again, suede here, which I do love. And again, look at how much headroom I have. This does not have the rear seat option. Again, I'm not sure of all the packages yet, so I can't sit back there. So that's all we're getting with the GX. Lexus GX 550. So just so you know, this does have that 3.4 liter twin turbo V6. The V8 is gone, but it now has 349 peak horsepower, which is 48 more than the old V8. What is even more impressive, this has the same torque figure as the LX600. This makes 479 pounds of peak torque. So let me talk to you a little bit about that. The OGX had a towing capacity of 6,500. This now is like a LX in regards to 8,000 pounds of peak towing capacity. I did notice, depending on the grade, Some of them I think is 6,500 or 6,900 depending on the grade, but peak towing capacity is 8,000 pounds. All right, everybody, I hope you didn't mind how I did. I've learned, like you have, I got the press material. You're gonna see this July 8th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Big shout out to Zach for coming out here with me, and he's gonna run straight to the hotel and we're gonna get some editing done. I am blown away. I've never, and it's no disrespect to the GX owners, I've never wanted to really own a GX before. I always felt like I always loved the LX instead. For the first time, I can 1,000% see myself driving this. And I don't know if I'm getting old, y'all, but I would drive a stock just like this. And I think that's what Lexus really wanted to accomplish with the OverTrail. You know, modding is part of my life. It's in my blood. It's what I do. And I think Lexus, shout out to them for taking, I think, some of that culture and now offering it in an OEM standard package for people that want the warranty and want the dealers to handle it and they don't have to worry about anything. So I think that was a very brilliant move. Again, there'll be different grades and there will be a hybrid coming. It's not here, but a hybrid GX is coming, and I can only wonder how good that will be as well. Lexus, you knocked it out of the park with this one. I am so proud of what you all have done. Thank you, Kelsey, Brooke, Leanne, Evan, Jeff, and Nay. I know I saw Dewan on the press release for giving me the opportunity to be here. And we're gonna cut up a ton of clips. I'm about to get on my iPhone and do some fun stuff. Zach's about to get some B-roll. We're out. Thank you so much for following.